Well, folks, here we are back in the lab, and got a little something different for you here. We got us a buggy lamp. Oh, just realized there's a hole down there. I thought that's where the fuel, where you put the fuel. I don't know. I don't know. I know I don't have. I've never had one of these, and I saw this. It was a good deal, and oh, the glass is intact, no cracks. I thought it was all brass. Turns out that only this kind of hood here. This area is brass and the top is brass. But yeah, I don't see a manufacturer name. I may see something like patent numbers after getting this shitty paint off here. This is, yeah, you can see the brush strokes everywhere. And some of that looks like somebody tried like putting a steel scrubby on it before painting it. I can't tell if that's what that is, if that's scratches, or somebody trying to clean it after it was painted. But as a chef, I know these markings. These are telltale markings of an untrained dishwasher scrubbing something who shouldn't. All right, so it's all nice thick glass. So I am curious as to what the flame source is, and we'll dive into no pun intended. We'll look into that. I googled this real quick through Google Images, and it showed me a number of them that were pretty close, but no pictures of the inside or the burner or any of them burning. So I mean, hey, I got time. I got time to figure this thing out. I'm hoping that it will tell me who it is and where it's from as we go along here. So there are no pieces to come off this. This is a solid piece. It'd be interesting to see how I'm going to get inside this glass to clean this up in here, especially down in there where all that crud is. I guess I'm not going to be able to do that. I mean, I'll be able to get my hand in the back because there's a door. Let's take a look. And there's the only thing I found today, just a burner. It's a Dietz burner. When I go to the sink to get the paint off this, I'll get the paint off that, and then I'll throw it in the small parts bin. All right, let's take a look at this thing. Okay, so, as I said, look at that. Very cool little... Oh, wow, that looks like it's mixed up like a marble. Can you see that? How cool is that? Was that some crazy glass they used? Like down to the last bit in the, of the molten glass, and it was all mixed up on the bottom. It's so cool. All right, so none of this stuff is magnetic, so I'm assuming that it is brass with a plating on it. I don't know if that's, silver or chrome or what. And it's all around on the inside. And I'm curious as to why this is all rippled like that. I mean, the glass is intact, so I mean, how did somebody get in there? Unless, of course, they had to get this plate out and then they kind of put it back in there and very nonchalantly hammered it in. And I see there's solder here, so I'm assuming the burner that is supposed to be in here was soldered down, but I have no clue as to what kind of burner goes in there. There's no spot for... Oh, I don't know what I'm looking at here, but it looks like... I don't know. I see this hole here, and it makes me think that there's your spot. No, it wouldn't come out there. That'd be silly. But weird stuff going on here. I can't tell if that's new or old or Look at all that. That globby solder. I don't know what in the world is going on with this thing. Part of the hinge has come off there. But I mean, this was really cheap, and I was really surprised. Oh, what is that? Is that JB Welded? Could that be? Yeah, it looks like JB Welded painted over, but it could have just been a really difficult job soldering this baby up in here. It does look pretty hard. You had to do it, especially in who knows, the 19 teens or older. Who knows? I mean, this could be pre-turn of the century. I don't know. I don't know. Looking for anything popping through the paint. Any letters at all? Not seeing any. Okay, so I'm gonna go get the paint off this thing. I mean, that's there's really nothing else for us to do. Take out a razor blade. We'll clean up all the glass and everything. I could throw some acetone on there, and I'll probably get rid of that. We'll do it when we come back. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, well, got most of the paint off that. That'll go in our parts bin. I don't know what to think any of this stuff is. It looks like something there and something there was soldered on. Looking for any kind of manufacturing, and I look up underneath there. It looks like white paint. What I thought was glob to W or JB Welded. Sorry, I got a cough drop. Looks like just splattered on white paint. So somebody probably went up there with a big old brush, blobbed with white paint, and throw it in there. So it looks like a lot of it too. I don't know how I'm going to get that out of there, or even if I will. I don't know. But let me see if there's any names around. Probably something underneath one of these reflectors on the inside. But I'm not going to pull any of them off. But we got some cleaning to do, so we may find out what the deal was with that. Okay. So yeah, so the top here looks to be chrome plated brass up on top. Looks like this was probably all flashed brass as well at some point. But I'm gonna put it on the wheel here. This is all brass here, by the way. And we'll get this cleaned up, and then we'll see where it takes us. What do you say, folks? Ugh. How am I gonna clean that on the inside? That'll be interesting. We see where water was sloshing around inside. I had no choice. Okay. Good old cough drop. Okay, I'll be right back. All right. Look at this compared to that awful continuous loads of paint that were on here. Hopefully now we'll find some markings. I haven't looked it over. 4 markings just for paint and shit. Okay, so I did find a razor blade, and we'll come over this with some acetone. Make sure we got all the globs and crap off. Okay. Let's see if I can, considering this thing is over 100 years old, I'm sure. I'm just gonna do this on the inside before I clean it. Can I get to this one? Not enough to razor blade it. Get my fingers in there, but okay. So here is where we're at. Look at this thing. So that's chrome plated or nickel or something, silver plated brass here. That's all solid brass here, solid brass here, and that's about it, except for maybe a couple little things like this here. Still trying to figure out this thing. This is, I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be your fuel cell. This is where all your fluid is. And I wonder if that is the reason they shaped it like that, or I know that, you know, you carry one of these out and plop it in this hole, this post that's on your car. And it makes sense because this thing will jiggle around and not fall out, unless of course you turn your car over, then you got more problems. Okay, so where do we start here? Boy, oh boy. I think I'm going to start with give it a good look over, see if I can see any markings. So let's do that. This, finished, clean that up, got the paint off it. We'll throw that in the parts bin. I will be needing that, I'm sure. Okay, so let me double up on my glasses, give this a good look over. Could be small print, could be rusted over print, could be drilled in the middle of print like this was at some point. Pretty sure that's not supposed to have a hole in it. Oh, that's why somebody hacked up the spot for the burner on the inside. I could see right through that. Somebody electrified it. Yep. Okay, that explains it. Alright, I wonder how badly they had to yank out. Maybe that's why it's all screwed up in there.
The patient hasn't a question, and we'll be back in service and route back those cars.
This, what bet you? I wonder if this was aftermarket repair. Looks like crimp marks. Like I said, it's my first one of these, so I don't know. All right, so let's see. What I'm doing, I'm looking for any kind of patent date, manufacturer name. I'm sure I could Google all it and find out where they put the dates and stuff like that. Where's the fun in that? Googling stuff. Oh, fun it. Just cuts time out of your day, but who necessarily wants to do such a thing? That's brass. That's brass. I see nothing. No name anywhere. Maybe none of them were marked. Yeah. Do you know? Yeah, that was some serious gloppy white paint. And you can still see it on spots around here. And I see it where it had come through these air vent holes. Just big blobs of it, and then they're running down the inside. Yeesh. Okay, well, we don't know who made it, when, or why. But, oh, there's an insect wing. I am definitely not taking that apart to get at that. No, there's no way. All right, let's make this thing look pretty. So, how should we start? Probably a junk bit. And I got a junk bit that I just started with. Let's see what this does. I've been pulling these things out of my skin ever since yesterday. Because this is one of the cheapos. This is one of the cheap ones that I'll never buy again. Because all the little metal hairs go flying out and they stick in me. And since you're hearing that dryer going right now, I'm having to wash all my clothes because I used this on a lantern yesterday, and the stuff was sticking in my clothes while I was walking around. It was sticking me in the skin. All right, well, we'll play with this for a little while. Now that it's become kind of an ice cream cone like that, they don't fly out as much. Okay, so Junk Bit likes to just kind of go around and screw with stuff. So that's what we're going to do. We'll give it a little extra length here because we have a lot of weird angles. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, well, this I pretty much killed that bit. There's so many weird angles on this thing. It's there's not many bits I can use in here, and not many tools. It's insanity. I mean, pointy bits, get in there, but you gotta get certain angles on things. I don't know, man. Some areas may still end up with some paint on them. We'll see. I'm still very much intrigued by that beautiful looking marble. Like, why is the Alexa in my kitchen is talking to itself? Hold on a minute. That's so weird. Why? Because there's an Alexa literally 3 feet to my right. And this one was in the kitchen and started talking, and then it started playing music. I don't get it. Maybe it heard my cat talking. Okay, so let's got a wheel here. That'll get in more spots. Not all of them. Still haven't found any markings yet of any kind. Any kind at all. Weird. All right, so let's continue. This thing's coming along really nice. I kind of want to see what I can do with this surface here, as I don't know what the plating is. I'm going to try a little brasso on there and see what that does. Little brasso and a little microfiber. I have a feeling this needs an extra bit of scrubbing here. Maybe I'm going to try it. Sorry, there's ham guys talking here, and I want to hear what they're saying. So I'm going to put this toothpaste on his, yeah. It's weird how I'm getting these unusual colors popping through. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's doing anything at all. Let's see. All right. Got all over this lens, though. It's not cool. Okay, good. That is a vast improvement. I am happy with that. Yeah. Okay. So the color I'm seeing is some rust that was being covered up by the oxidation of the plating or whatever it is that is plated here. It's hard to say whether it's this plate or the metal behind it. I don't know. That's so cool. I'm going to fix this hinge, by the way. That's underneath here. I'm going to throw some solder on it. This is a dental bone hammer. Can you imagine that thing banging you in your teeth? Good God, man. This thing is solid metal, too. Weird. Okay. So, boy, I wish there was an easier way to position this thing, because right now I'm resting it on its glass. I don't want to be doing that. All right, well, I'll lay it down this way. Find another towel. Lay it on here. Yeah, okay, so I guess I'm gonna brush this thing's teeth a little more in here. All right, let's brush this thing's teeth. What do you say? Oh, I see what that color was. That is the brass underneath. Son of a gun. I seriously didn't think that a little bit of that polish was gonna eat through it like that. But it still looks a lot better than it did. Okay, so we got the bottom portion here, which is very chewed up. But we will brush them teeth. Well, that looks like shit. Wow. I guess I should have just left that. I mean, you know, how am I supposed to know? But man, it very quickly brought off the remaining chrome plate off the brass there. So what looks like red paint coming through is really just the brass. But I wonder what little steel wool will do. Oh, well, that might get through that. All right, let me investigate here in this little corner. Okay, well, all right, so that's getting through it to just the brass. Okay, for what I paid for this, you know, I don't, if I'm making things worse here, I don't care. This thing was very cheap, and this thing was about ready to go in the garbage. Why that plate is all screwed up in here. Okay, I guess I'm not going to touch it. So somebody put it back in there, but with this little lip here and the hinge going on behind it, I'm not going to mess with it too much. Okay, so what I need to do now that that's cleaned up, I'm going to get up in the front here. I don't know what I can do up in here, except get my hand in there and just clean that up with a little WD, or not WD, I'm sorry, like Windex or 409 or something. Let me see, where is the clean microfiber? Sorry, I gotta pull you away from here for a minute while I am able to see. I can't exactly do this in a way that you can see it at the same time. Okay, now you can see what I'm doing. I can't get into those little corners. I don't know if I'll be able to get some kind of tool in there. I'm barely getting my hand in here. I don't know what kind of tool I could get up in there. The bubbles are in there. Nothing I can do about that. But I do see that it has gotten rid of a lot of grossness out there. So let me see if I can get a little more off. Coming together here, folks. Not a whole lot more to do to this thing except hit it with some steel wool and then just leave it like that. And then try to figure out what kind of burner goes in it. How the heck how do you display something like this? Because whatever the base is, it's got to be heavy duty, man. One little breeze or a cat walking by, it's a mess. Okay, so, all right, let me see what we're going to do next here. Okay, so let's steel wool this baby for a little final shine up here. So I was right. The scratches that I saw were underneath the paint, or maybe they were in the paint and just went all the way through. But some of them scratches I had seen are still sitting there. All right, well, so I think I would like to throw a little solder down in this hinge. This was badly bent, and I hit it with a hammer a couple times. Hopefully, this tin of saffron stamens is full of matches. Hopefully, we won't set them on fire. Throwing a little, warming it up a little bit, and then throwing some flux in there. Both surfaces are tinned already, so this should be pretty easy to get this in there. And I'll try not to set fire to anything. Okay, good. That's good, but I don't want that blob sitting right there, so okay, well, it's in the underside, but we are nicely anchored there. And plenty of it went down in there, so we got good contact. Excellent.
Anybody that's gonna buy them all, if they do, they want a discount. However, people that go to antique shops are looking for something they had when they were a kid or something like that, or wanted to have. So, for each one of those radios, there's a person that had one, like we had the ICO, that probably wants the radio. Unfortunately, the seller fees on eBay are really too high. It's horrible. But you can do Craigslist and you can do Facebook. There's a pretty good audience there. And that's how I would dispose of all of those. K2IJYW1UUU.
I don't think he has the time to sell one at a time. He's got so much other stuff going on. He's gonna find somebody. I don't think it's about the money. You'll probably donate it. You just take a tax write-off if you can. I don't know. It's hard to say. You know, all this stuff.
Well,
Along the way right now.
so
So as long as you're having fun with the build and enjoying it, that's really all that matters, to tell you the truth.
it's a little nicer than it did a minute ago.
I've got some rectifier stacks, not a bunch of them, but you only need 4 of these
Nice.
to run a whole bunch of power. I would
So
say.
let's treat it. Let's get some linseed oil on here.
Your bridge there, your DC. But I got
And
some organic,
see how
I
she
would
looks.
gift to you
It's
if you
gonna
could
look
use
beautiful.
them. I mean, I use them. I keep them around here, but I would donate some to your project.
These ham guys still yapping. Yeah. Okay, so if you're new to the channel, I treat with boiled linseed oil with 10% kerosene. You don't boil the linseed oil, it comes boiled. You look at the jar or the whatever it comes in. It'll say boiled linseed oil. Anyway, you put too much on. You don't want to keep putting layers and layers of this on there because this kind of crap happens. You saw me trying to see, it turns into this gross kind of filmy crap. So you don't want to keep necessarily applying. It should be, probably, I don't know, a couple of years before you go treating it again. If you want to treat it again, I would treat it with something like WD-40 or gun oil if you like to treat them often. And you'll get a nice kind of a satin finish with WD, but it goes away quick. So that you can keep, you want to keep applying that, that's okay. That doesn't necessarily leave a residue like this does. Lots of residue here. All right, so let's put it around there. But this is the only thing I use for treating my lanterns. I started with WD and then learned real quick here in this humid Western New York environment, very humid here in the summers, that I was getting flash rust almost immediately after restorations around the house here. So, and not the case with linseed oil. It's great. I mean, there is, I get a little bit of flash rust, and you will, no matter what, in the right conditions. It'll be interesting trying to get all this linseed oil off of here because of all these crazy surfaces, knickknacks and corners and seams and all that crap. Couple spots of black paint still on here. I don't care. No character lines. Okay, I am not going to do the very bottom of this. I'm assuming that's the fount. I don't know. It's really hard to tell. Look at all this craziness going on here. That looks like a repair. That ring, there is brass, I can see. I don't know, man. I got lots of research to try to figure out on these things just because I am curious. It's not like I'm going to be going around buying these up.
What did you say failing? What's failing?
But, yeah, something moving around in there behind that. I don't know what that is. Let's see. Yeah, can't get it with that. Huh. I don't know. Like maybe a glob of former spider web or something. Okay, so let's
Hey, Bob. How the hell are you? Oh, pretty good.
yum. All right, let's see. I need a good rag for oil removal. Well,
So it always works. They just, everybody does pretty minimum.
here we are, folks. We are done. We are done. I mean, wow. Quite a transformation. Beats the hell out of that brushed on paint, the black and the white. You still some. I can't get up in there. I don't feel like it either. But yeah, this thing's great. Very cool. I just got to find the right way to display such a thing, and I'm sure there is a way, and I'm sure I will find out from some of the groups. All right, folks. Well, pretty cool. There we are. So that redness is the layer between the chrome and the brass. I don't know if it was something to help it like adhere to each other or something, but it's very, very thin layer of that, and then there's the brass underneath. Interesting. Did the best I could, clean in there. Well, not the best I could, because if I did the best I could, it wouldn't be there. I would have to take all this glass out, and then deal with the glue and all this other stuff. So, yeah. All right. So, here we are. Buggy lamp. Very neat. With that very cool wavy glass. I want to know what that looks like when it's lit up. That's so cool. So, yeah. And now I got to figure out what power goes in this thing. I know somebody had electrified, obviously, but I want to know what burner goes in here. And it's so hard to tell if any of this destruction that happened there is from the person that electrified it, or ripping out what was in there. There was probably some kind of permanent ring here that was soldered down, and somebody ripped it out by the roots. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. Kind of want to see. Pretty cool. Oh yeah, I can see the waviness and the bubbles in the glass. Bubbles in the glass. This thing's got to be pretty old, man. This thing's got to be pretty old. All right, cool, great, folks. Thanks so much for stopping by. We won't do it like that because of all them dumb lights. There we go. So, here we go. Buggy lamp. One of today's finds. Very cool. I like the way that looks when that door is closed, too. Look at all these cool surfaces. There, here, there. All right, folks. Thanks you so much for stopping by for another video. And until next time, don't you go changing.
We'll be back with the Magic Tunes for the Armada Room's 2-hour disco swing party after this short break. Till then, don't you go changing.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.